Today on 1 Foot Flipper, we're raising the bar.
1 foot flipper.
All right, I'd like to show everybody this. This is months and months coming, but this, I'm going to show some pictures and clips of this back and forth, how it used to look. Take a look at this mess in the middle. Now I want you to look at this. This is the basement now. Full listing and photo station in the middle. Used to be garbage piled to the ceiling. Stock shelves all the way around, following 2 walls. My CRT collection, my arcade game, have not fixed that yet. Still working on that. But here is the big deal. The bar, the filming area, totally clear. I mean, look at this clip or pictures of it earlier, what it looked like. It's ridiculous. Surface, clear. Okay. Sorry, there is one pirate ship hiding back there, but this is just night and day. I still do have some stuff stored in the bathroom here, but I'm willing to deal with that for now. That's okay. Hey, you know, I'm actually balancing on one leg right now. I am not sitting down on anything. Sold this craft gourd, $16.99. That's about the top out price on these. This is what the nicest, heaviest, biggest ones sell for. Not bad. Repeat buyer. I get a lot of repeat buyer on my gourds. Sold this mummy figure. This is for the Blood Bowl game, which is fantasy football game, but not the sort that you're thinking of. Not where everybody sits around and makes a draft. This is where mummies and goblins and orcs play football on the tabletop. Outlaws LP, $3.48, not great. And $17.44 for 4 Warhammer plastic miniature sprues that are mostly empty. These just have some of the various accessories on them because you could build these figures out in different ways. Yeah, super slow day. That's all I had because I've been working on everything but listing. Now, one great thing about having this clear is that a drop of a hat, this can go from this into this fantasy world. Get all the fun I can have with Julie, the other kids, maybe even some grown-up friends. All this stuff, all these monsters and bad guys and bad barking dogs. So I'm quite happy with this. All right, I've done hours more work down here since this last segment you saw, so here it is. Almost looks like humans live and work in this area. This is still clear. Although I woke up this morning to find Julie had completely changed the layout here. She went to a deeply forested rural area. Only used 2 monsters. There's a giant who's gonna get in the way of things, and apparently the griffin is guarding the graveyard. She said that's because the bad guys want to turn all of them into spirits. Not bad. I think she plans to expand this more, get a little bit of more story going when she gets home from school. Maybe if there's time, it'll end up in the video. Although that'll just cut me views because people don't watch me to see my daughter put various miniatures on the table. Or maybe they do. Let me know in the comments. Hey everybody, let's do a couple more sales. I sold this vintage Scoville folding iron sleeve double ironing board, 1944. I got this in a Goodwill that I only stopped at so I could write mileage off for while I was driving around. It was the only item I found there. Was not worth the time I took in there because it took 15 minutes for them to check me out for one item. It's hard for me to even stand up for 15 minutes, to tell you the truth. I'll put it up on the screen because it's upstairs. It's a Captain Planet Eco Cycle, sold for $7.69. I'm starting to run out of them, but I sold another lot of Wings of War, Wings of Glory, War Game airplanes. This sold for $69.99. Focus Moving Waves, $7.99. Frankenstein Sings on VHS, $11.69. That is a bolo. Minute Work Cargo, $4.36 plus promoted listing of 3%, so not great. And right before this came up, MP3 CD. This is The Faith. And this is also $3.69. All right, well, let's get back to the rest of it, shall we? Well, it looks like this town is saved from this vintage Warhammer Space Marines Rhino Whirlwind conversion because it just sold for $69.99 on eBay. So this town is safe. Hey, have I mentioned the fact that I have channel memberships? Joining so doesn't just support the channel, but also gives you access to exclusive short videos in which I might go a little further on a topic or say things that I don't want to say in public. You know, like, what does Paige really think of NC Picker, or, you know, embarrassing personal stories? If you want that stuff, you got to be in the channel memberships. How's everybody doing? How's your sales week been, if that's the sort of person you are? How's life going? My sales have continued to be really poor, but you know, I've been listing nothing but long tail stuff and junk that I've looked over for 3 years, so that's all going to change soon. Soon, I'm going to be sourcing again, so I'll have actual fresh new products and not things that I decided not to list 3 years ago. It's going to be the new stuff and the good stuff. So let's look at some of the kind of stuff I am sorting through here. Lots of stuff that is it worth it? It's barely worth it. Stuff I passed up time and time again. Had I just listed everything I got as I got it in order, instead of cherry picking the best stuff, I wouldn't be in this situation right now. You know, I think like kiddie games for Nintendo DS and Game Boy. Got a Game Boy Advance here, just never got around to listing it because it never ended up next to some batteries for it. Always seemed to be in a different part of the house than batteries were. Somehow a Stampin' Up thing that survived being put into a lot. Would anybody want it? Who knows? Exercise dice. I bet there's no market for these, so I'll bust those open and stick those into a lot of other dice. Oh, look. A box to a Super Nintendo game that no one cares about because it's a sports game. That will probably end up in the trash because unfortunately it's not worth the cost of shipping to the person who needs it. A manual to a Super Nintendo game missing the cover. Once again, that's going to end up in the trash because nobody will want it. Babylon 5 Wars miniature. I actually sold this like 6 months ago and couldn't find it, and I thought it was a duplicate. I thought it was an accidentally duplicated listing because I thought for sure I remember sending this out, but found it, so I guess it'll get to be listed again, and then unfortunately probably have the same person buy it. Loose Dreamcast games. This is a little Steam console. These used to be a thing. You would hook this up to your TV and plug gamepads into it, and it would run video games on your computer, but it would display them on the TV and let you control through this. I got this. It's called a Steam Link. I got this, and I never once set it up. Not once, because honestly, there's no TV in our house set up in a place where it's decent to play video games from it anyway. They're all, you know, it's either TVs on the wall over the beds or stuff like that. I just end up playing at my desk. This says demo deck, so it can probably go right in the trash. This plastic thing I think is an actual thing. I think it's actual to a rare Warhammer strategy game, not war game, but I don't remember what it's called at the moment, so I'll have to figure out what that is before I sell it. But this is the sort of stuff I'm dealing with, chugging through just about the worst to the worst. You know, if it was any worse, I could just throw the stuff directly away and not worry about it, but it's just good enough where I can't throw it away. Speaking of new stuff, I have been putting out a lot of shorts recently, some of them even off topic. They seem to overall be well received. I don't know what you think about them one way or the other, but hey, why don't you let me know about them, because they're getting hundreds of views but very few comments. So if you've watched them, why don't you say something about them? Let's do a few sales. Sold this Midland weather radio, emergency weather alert radio, $16.58. Promoted listings. Promoted listings can work out good on the sort of things like this that a senior citizen would want to buy. I feel like this is a senior citizen item for sure. I honestly never care about the weather much one way or the other. But my mother, my mother, who I'm sure is watching, she cares about the weather. She calls me to let me know about the weather, and I don't care about the weather. But promoted listings can help on items that seniors search for because they are simply less likely to use more advanced search methods than younger people are. I'm not sure why. I guess it's due to not having used computers their entire adult lives. Like, I'm just to the age where I've been using computers my entire adult life at 46, while people older than me are going to have a percentage of that adult life in which they never used one. And definitely never used one in school. Hey, sold some Warhammer, guys. These Craft World Eldar Fire Dragons, 4th edition, squad of 7, metal. I'll put a picture of them up there because, they're not really pretty in the bag, but they're pretty decent looking. My friend Ed painted those in the early 90s. He's passed away now, but I did buy his game collection. And they're going to go to a new home now. And this one is a viewer sale. The message is, hello, longtime viewer of your YouTube channel. Keep up the good work. Much respect. Thanks. It came from Jeep Concepts. They have not really a store, but they have a general selection of items on eBay, and looking at their items sold, they keep about 10 to 15 items around all the time. And they bought this unstretched painting for $35. Now, I really enjoyed this viewer sale because this is my first. It's a viewer sale, but it's promoted listings, which means that they found the item that they wanted to buy, and then they noticed they were buying it from me. Because if they were just browsing the store, it would have not had a promoted listings attached to it. It just would have been something that they found in the store, and there would be no promoted listings, because you don't see a promoted listing when you're browsing the store. So I thought that was great. It was like the time I got recognized at a community, somebody recognized me at a community sale really early in my career, makes me feel a little bit famous, so that's nice. Oh, one more personal favorite. I'd be wearing this if it didn't stretch a little too tight for me. An original Timex Indiglo watch. Remember those? It's one of the first models with the stainless steel gold colored band. I had this up for a long time, but since I never replaced the battery in it, it never sold, and it's worth twice as much with the battery in it, so I'm just going to go to the dollar store and go ahead and get a battery and double the value of this thing. I love having stuff like this in my store. Hey, thanks for coming out, everybody. You can hit that like, that subscribe, join the channel membership if you want to. Tell the people in your basement about the channel. I'm still trying to get to that goal of 6,000. That was my long-term YouTube goal, was to get to 6,000, and my road between 5 and 6 has been longer, I think, than my road from 1 to 5. But, tell a few people about it. Maybe it could help get me there. Thanks so much. Hope to see you again soon.